Here we go. At the Globe Life Field in Texas, where the Padres have a 3-0 lead, and Joe Musgrove is trying to make history tonight. Ground ball, and will go to first. The San Diego Padres get their first no-hitter.
Going from having no emotion to the whole stadium going crazy and my teammates rushing me was really crazy. Yeah, it was pretty cool for me. Just got traded back to San Diego. I'm from San Diego, so I'm back in my hometown. Padres have come really close to no-hitters a lot of times within, a couple outs, and haven't been able to do it. So it wasn't really in the back of my mind. And 6th, 7th inning, what was going on, and trying to accomplish it. I was more so just trying to, be consistent in my delivery. And then as the 8th and 9th inning came around, I was extremely aware of what was going on, and we just tried to keep the focus on execution and not think about what was at stake and what was happening, and not try to add and do too much, just continue with the same game plan and the same effort that I've been given all game. But once it was done and the no-hitter was complete, the feeling of just having all my teammates rush the mound and being able to celebrate together with all them was really cool. Yeah, guys weren't talking to me. They were just acting like it was any other game. No one wanted to. A lot of superstitions going on with no-hitters, so no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to leave their seat. No one wants to interrupt me or bother me. So it was kind of a lonely outing. Just me, my catcher, and pitching coach talking, but the guys weren't really weren't talking to me a whole lot. Just completion. I was exhausted, more mentally than physically. It was the highest pitch count I had, so I was pretty tired, but just mentally more drained than anything. Glad it was over, and for those last handful of innings, you're trying to block out like any emotion or any excitement or adrenaline. You're just trying to kind of be like a zombie for those last couple innings. So going from having no emotion to the whole stadium going crazy and my teammates rushing me was a pretty crazy moment. Yeah, we had our big celebration in the clubhouse. I got put in a basket and got showered with beer in the showers. And we're on the road, so we all took it back to the hotel, and we stayed up for a little bit talking about it and watching highlights and stuff. But I think everyone got to bed a little later that night. Yeah, I'm actually a big fan of the Ballast Point beers. They gave me that card, so anytime I go through there with my family or my buddies or something, they always take care of the tab for us and let us drink for free. Yeah, it's something very unexpected. They got it done, I think, like 2 days after I threw the no-hitter. So they FaceTimed me, my sister and my family were at the school and we were in Texas, so they FaceTimed me from San Diego and showed me the mural, and I was just kind of shocked. It's something that, seems pretty cool as a kid growing up and something that anybody would want, but, it just didn't seem very realistic or something that would ever happen to me, so it was kind of a bit of a shock. Yeah, I think I spent a couple weeks trying to get back to feeling right. The progression, I hadn't thrown more than, I believe, 7 innings maybe. Leading up through spring, you get to 5, 6 innings, and then my first outing of the year, I think I threw 6. So it was a lot more taxing on the body. I went from 86 pitches, like I said, to 112, which is a big jump. It took me a lot longer to recover and kind of get back to feeling normal and get the aches and soreness out. I don't think it was as much like let down mentally. Like I felt like I was still sharp. I felt good. I think my body was trying to recover and trying to catch back up. So. Yeah, a lot of soft tissue stuff, a lot of cardio and running to kind of pump fresh blood through. A lot of cold tub. But we got a really good training staff, so I kind of followed the routine that they put me on and just tried to stay with that really religiously. I've had a lot of foot issues over my career. I have some nerve issues in there, and I got just really bad feet. My feet are, I think, a little weak. So whenever I run barefoot, it strengthens my feet up a little bit, but it also gives my toes and my feet a chance to like spread out and not be constricted with spikes. You know, we spend so much of our time in cleats that it beats your feet up pretty good. So I think after a start, after throwing 100 pitches in a shoe and compressing that foot over and over, to be able to go out and run for 20-30 minutes barefoot and kind of open my feet back up, the grass just feels good. I think it's ultimately just because it feels a lot better on my body and helps my feet stay healthy throughout the year. Yeah, I have my godfather, Dominic Johnson. He's been my pitching coach since I was 14, 15. My godfather as well, so we have a close family tie, but he's always been the guy that's been like my go-to for baseball-related things, life-related stuff. He's like a second dad to me, and he's like my baseball dad, so I talk with him regularly throughout the week. We talk after each start. When I'm home, we get lunch once or twice a week and just go over things, whether it's baseball or life, whatever. But he's been a big part of my career, and especially this year. I mean, my teammates, I feel like, are big role models. You're in a clubhouse with a bunch of professionals, so you know, there's so much that you can learn if you're willing to ask questions and kind of put yourself out there. And it's easy at this level, I feel like, to know that you're a professional, and sometimes guys feel like they don't need to ask for help and that they got it all figured out. But you know, I found the best thing is just to talk to the guys around you. You know, everyone's going through the same things we are. When I'm struggling, I know everyone in our staff and our rotation's been in the position that I'm in, so kind of falling back on those guys and you know, having them keep me in the right mind state, you know, maybe give me mechanical adjustments or mental cues that'll help me get back on track. So those are the guys that we spend most time with and the guys that are most available to us. Yeah, both. I think the excitement was just the group of guys that I was going to be able to play with. The names we have: Machado, Tatis, Hosmer, Cronenworth for young guys, Darvish and Snell at the top of the rotation, Melanson in the bullpen, Stammen, who's been around for 10 plus years. A lot of guys in there that have a lot of experience and a lot of things to share, so it's going to make me better as a player, and I knew we'd have a shot for a playoff spot and go for a World Series. So that, you know, your quality of life is a lot better when you're in San Diego. Living on the beach in San Diego and getting to spend time by the water and having all my local spots that I go to. I got my PT, my trainer, my pitching coach, all those guys close by. So just a lot of resources that I can use. I got to play with him for 3 years out in Pittsburgh, and he was probably the closest teammate of mine over there. So I knew he was going to get moved at the deadline. We just didn't know where he was going to end up, and I got a word from AJ Preller, our GM, called me asking about Frazier. And I called him all excited. I said, hey man, it looks like something's about to happen. When he came over, he moved in my house. I have an extra little guest house, so he's staying in the guest house right now and kind of tried to make the transition easy for him. But that was his first time being traded, and being traded in season is pretty difficult. You got your routine, you got your coaches that know what you like and how you like to do things, and then you come over here and there's a whole new group of coaches you got to get to know, new teammates you got to understand, new philosophies, new ways of coaching. There's just so many things to try to adjust to, while at the same time trying to maintain the things that have made you good all year. So just trying to do the easy things like introduce them to people, and anytime we're hanging out and somebody walks by, just remind them that's so-and-so, this is so-and-so, this is this guy. Just little things that'll help them understand and know the people a little better and make the transition easier. Yeah, a lot of visualization. Something everyone always talks about visualization being like an important part of sports, and how you always want to visualize yourself having success and dominating the competition. And that's a big piece of what I do. I always have like positive, visualizations where I'm seeing myself, doing exactly what I want, but preparing for that and running through those scenarios in my head so that when the game comes, I'm ready for any possible situation I'm put in. Was a big part of it. So, when I was preparing for that first start, I'm laying in bed the night before and I'm running through, what am I going to be thinking? Am I going to be out there trying to add intensity and do more because I'm in my hometown and I want to do well? I'm going to be looking around in the stands and seeing people I know and thinking oh, I don't want to screw up. All these situations that run through your head when you're out there. I try to do those things the night before it starts so that when the game comes, I'm ready for anything. Yeah, the slider, my breaking balls are my two best pitches this year. I've thrown a lot of curveballs, a lot of sliders. I have 6 pitches, so you get all 6 pitches working every night, every time you go out there. But the slider and the curveball just come so naturally to me. It's not a pitch that I have to put a ton of work into. I have starts here and there where I lose a little bit of feel for one of them, but whether I lose the slider, the curveball is always there. If I don't have the curveball, the slider's there. So I can always rely on one of those weapons. And the way that the season's gone, I've kind of altered the way that I pitch. In the past, I used to be really fastball heavy and try to use the fastball a lot the first time around the lineup, and then later in the game I'll try to break out the slider and the breaking balls. This year I'm throwing a lot of heavy breaking balls early on in the game, and either guys will show that they're not able to see it, they're not adjusting, and they'll keep swinging and missing and keep chasing it. If they're not chasing it, then I know they're sitting on sliders and off speed, and I can use the fastball a little more. So in that first inning or two, it's really just about reading the hitters and reading swings and seeing what they're looking for and try to decipher what their game plan is. When I first started learning how to pitch with my godfather Dominic, I was like 14, 15, and the main thing that we focused on was being really short with your back arm and getting it to your ear and trying to hide the ball from the hitter. As hitters, you're taught to try to pick up the ball, whether you pick it up behind the pitcher's butt or if you pick it up back here. If you pick up the ball early, it gives you a way to time the pitch. If I see the ball early, I know that the next spot it's going to be is at release, so I can kind of get my timing down for that. If you never see the ball, it's harder to get on time with pitches, and you don't see grips, you don't see a whole lot, so it is very deceptive. So I got a little bit away from those initial drills that I learned as a kid, and I got a little bit longer and a little bit deeper behind me. And watching guys like Giolito and Shane Bieber and Trevor Bauer pitch, like they're all really short and they hit the ball really well, and it made for an easy, consistent delivery. So I watched those guys, and last offseason I put a lot of work into trying to get my arm back into that shorter motion and hide the ball a little better, and it increased the spin rate on all my pitches and made my breaking ball sharper. Developing the really good slider and curveball was kind of a byproduct of shortening up the arm action, but Giolito's definitely a guy that I looked at. Yeah, just efficiency, timing of the delivery. My arm health has been, really good. I haven't had any issues. Yeah, I mean, it's worked well for me, so I'm trying to just perfect it and stay with that thought process. Watched one of his starts right after the All-Star break, and just how consistent, how clean and smooth the delivery looked. I went out after my next start, and I just started playing catch like that. Whatever I saw visually, I tried to do what I felt like that looked like. Felt pretty good, and over the next 4 or 5 days, I continued to work it, and I took it right into a game, and I punched out a career high, 11 guys, and just kind of kept building on that, and now I'm here. So it was really just seeing a guy do something and watching what he did and try to mimic those movements, and the rest is history, I guess. It's just kind of been like that since. I'm starting to see a lot of guys eliminating the outer half of the plate, because most of my breaking balls that I throw that start on the outer half of the plate, they end up as balls, but they look like a strike for so long that guys swing at it and it dives off the plate away. So a lot of guys are telling themselves, if out of the hand, if I see that ball on the outer half of the plate, the odds are it's going to be a breaking ball and it's going to be off the plate for a ball, so I'm not even going to swing if it's away. If it's on the inner half and it's a slider, I know that it's going to be in the zone, so I can swing at that. So they're eliminating the outer half of the plate, and that's where I talked about reading those hitters' swings. If I see them taking a lot of my good breaking balls off the plate, I know they're sitting on it, so now I can throw fastballs away, and I know I can get them to take those for strikes. And then when they get to 2 strikes, now that they know I'm going to throw a fastball there, they have to swing at the slider that looks like, So you just try to play that head game and try to just adjust to the hitters and watch what they're doing. Yeah, well, the slider and the cutter, they look very similar out of the hand. And to left-handed hitters, I get a lot of left-handed heavy lineups just because the righty throwing, you want to stack as many lefties and give them better visuals and better sights. So I get a lot of lefties, and I knew it was going to be important for me to have multiple weapons and ways to get them out, and not just have a good slider that they'll eventually start to lay off, and now I have no other weapons. So. Get ahead of yourself, but I am proud of my ability to take the ball every 5th day. I've taken the ball out of the bullpen. I've taken the ball on 8 days rest, on 5 days rest. I've kind of bounced all over the place this year, but the most important thing is posting up for your teammates and being able to take the ball when it's your turn and go out there and be quality. So there's 3 outings left, and things can go sideways real fast, so I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I think just being healthy and being able to take the ball when it's my turn is the most important thing. So I do a traditional four seam, try to have the horseshoe on the right side. The baseball has a high seam and a low seam, right? So if you look at the ball, you can see the seams are going up on this side, and if they're going down on this side, right? So up this way, down that way. So when I throw, the longer finger gets the higher seam, the shorter finger gets the low seam. So now I'm pulling off the two seams, whereas if I flip the ball around, the horseshoe's on the left, now the high seam's over here, the low seam's over here. So the short finger gets the high seam, the long finger is kind of just throwing off the leather. So with the horseshoe on the right, they both get a seam to pull on. With the horseshoe on the left side, the middle finger doesn't really get a seam to pull on. So I feel like that's a better way to truly spin a four seam. And then off of that, my slider is just slid to the bottom of the horseshoe, and I'm right in that little groove right there, like that. And all I think about is taking my thumb from that position underneath the ball, so it pulls my fingers more on top of the ball. So if I'm facing you, that's a normal slider bit. All I do is take my thumb, pull the thumb underneath. That'll pull these fingers from like 1 o'clock up to 2, right? Now as I throw it, it's coming off behind the ball, spinning that way, as opposed to throwing it here and it spins out the back, right? So I'm thinking about moving underneath so I can stay on top of the ball. And then my curveball is into the bottom of the horseshoe there. And I'm thinking about if I had an arrow coming out of this part of my hand, I'm trying to throw that part of the catch. So as I get up to the top of my delivery, I think about